In the review for Unit 5, the first question asks for a histogram, and if you notice, this is a histogram because the horizontal axis is numbers in order and the vertical axis is frequency in order. They talk about skew. This chart comes from your textbook. If you notice symmetric, this first one is symmetric because if you drew a line down the middle, it would be the same on the left side as it is on the right side. So this is symmetric. And then this one is pulled to the left, so we say it is skewed left. This one, of course, would be skewed right. Now, some graphs are not symmetric and not skewed. This one would be neither. I mean, it's just a graph. Okay? Next. We've got to talk about this scatter plot. If you notice, it's got engine displacement on the left. That's the size of the engine, so the engine gets bigger, and then the bottom is miles per gallon. So the title of the graph is Engine Size versus Miles per Gallon. Now you can compare those two if you look at the equation for that graph. I'd like to show you that equation at the same time that we've got this picture of the r squared. First of all, let's take the r squared right here. If you notice, r squared, it says is 0.8. So if it's greater than 0.8, it's got a strong correlation. Okay? Now, the other thing that you're supposed to pay attention to is the slope. Now, you can just tell by looking at it here that it's sloping down. But the other way that you can tell about the slope is if you notice right here, this is negative. So negative slope or positive slope, you can tell just by looking at the coefficient of x. Next, excuse me, find the mode. Mode is the most common. So we look at these, which is the most common. We've got 3 18s here. We've got 2 46s and 2 47s. So which of those is the most common? As far as the next one goes, it asks us for the mean. Now I'm going to show you a cool way to get the mean. Is I'm going to take these data values. I'm going to go to Excel and put those data values into Excel. Data, text to columns, and I'm going to do next, comma, and the only thing I have to do is change this one to just 19. So now I'm going to take those data values and get their mean or average. Average of those numbers up above. And if you notice, we get the average for those values. Median is the one in the middle. The only way you can get the median is to arrange them in order. 38, 28, 36, 19, 28, 19, and 19. Count them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The fourth one in will be the mean, or I'm sorry, the median. Next one, calculated the weighted average. I'm going to do this the exact same way that I did that last one, where I copy the data and I'm going to put it into Excel, paste the data here, and the weighted weighted average is you take the frequency times the midpoint of that area. I'm going to copy that cell down. And to find the average, we need to know the sum of these numbers, and we need to know the sum of the frequencies, because the average will be the total product divided by the number of elements that you have. So to find the weighted average, or the average of a frequency distribution like this, you would multiply those numbers, add them up, add these up, and then the weighted average will be this total divided by this total. Next, calculate the grade point average. You could do the same thing. Ooh, I should have saved that spreadsheet. Let's do it again. Okay, so we're going to take the numerical values and multiply them together. Well, I guess we can just take the whole chart, doesn't matter. And the grade points will be the product of the credits and the value of the grade. Multiply those together: 4, 20, 3, and 9. Add those up. And they add up to 36, and just take that 36 and divide once again. Take this sum as the numerator and divide it by the sum of the denominator, and it says record your answer to 2 decimal places. Range, you need to know the biggest value is 100, and the smallest value, which is 50, and the range is how far apart those are, or subtract, and that will be the range. Next one. Find Q3. Well, you know what? We could use... Now let's do it this way. I was going to say we could use Excel, but it's just as easy to do it with this. We arrange them in order first. So our 13.5, 6.4, 6.6, let's see, 99.2, 79.5, 28.9, 43.6, and 52.1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Since there's 8 things, Q2 is between the middle two. Q1 is between the second and the third one. And Q3 is between the third one, the second from the end and the third from the end. The way you find the actual value is you take those two, add them up, and divide by 2 on my calculator. I'll just use the fraction key. 52.1 plus 79.5, and then divide by 2, and that'll be my answer. All right, next one. Find a certain percentile. In order to find the 27th percentile, if you notice, there are 16 values. So out of those 16, we want to know how many would be equal to 27 out of 100. So we would take 16 times 27 divided by 100, and we would get 4.3. In other words, we want the next one after 4.3. So we would start counting. This one's the first one, second one, third one, fourth. You want the one after the fourth one. Since they're arranged in order, you can just list that number as the 27th percentile. Next one, calculate the z-score. Remember that for z-score, you have to divide by the standard deviation, so that goes on the bottom. The z-score is your value, subtract the mean, divided by the standard deviation, or on your calculator, 58.6 minus 79.6 divided by 3.5, and that will be your z-score. Next one. Let's look at this one. After the race, the first 2 places receive awards. So for this one, we need to have, there are 10 different people, and we're talking about places, which would be the permutation key, and we want to choose 2. The other way to think about this one is if you have 2 racers out of 10, there are 10 people that can be first, 9 people that can be second, so that's how many different ways you can award those 2 prizes. Next one. How many different ways can you answer a 4-part multiple choice question? Try 4. I mean, that question is almost too easy. A lot of people think, well, I must be doing something wrong because that sure seems easy, and it is. Now, for a committee, if you recall, when I taught you this section, I told you for permutations, combinations, we would use 11 combinations, committees, and this would be places, is the clue that we had for that one. 11 combination 4. Permutation is the number of ways that something can happen. So in this case, we would just press on our calculator 11 combination, choose 4, and that'll be our answer. A basketball team has 4 different jerseys, 11 different shorts, and 3 different warm-up outfits. Now, the fundamental counting principle says that to find that answer, we would just multiply, the number of jerseys by the number of shorts by the warm-up outfits, and we would have the total number of ways. The other way that you could do this would be to have a tree diagram, 4 different jerseys, and from each one of those you could have 11 different shorts And from each of those, you could have 3 different warm-up outfits and then count how many there are. But you'd be counting for a long time, wouldn't you? Okay, next one. It says we're supposed to calculate the probability of choosing a student in the ag program. Well, how many students are there in the ag program? We're going to use all of the students, and we're going to use the ones that are ag is the numerator, and that will be our decimal. Remember, probability can never be greater than 1 or less than 0. Next one, a classroom has 20 females, or 20 women and 15 men. What is the probability of selecting a woman from the room? Well, you take the number of women divided by the number of people, and that will be the probability of selecting a woman. Next one. A certain recessive gene has a probability of 0.7. So if we were making a population genetics experiment, we would say this is 0.7, this is 0.7. Remember, these have to add up to 1, and so the other one is 0.3, which does actually answer the question here. But remember that we can complete this. 0.7 times 0.7 is 0.49. 0.7 times 0.3 is 0.21. 0.3 times 0.7 is 0.21, and 0.3 times 0.3 is 0.09. These add up to 1, so the probability of the dominant gene being selected would be 0.49 plus 0.21 plus 0.21. The only way that you could get the recessive one is down here in this corner. Now, all they want, though, is the probability of the dominant gene in this case. You don't have to figure out all the math for it. Next one. Okay, we want the probability of an agriculture student given that it's a freshman. So the denominator is 12 plus 39 plus 23, and we want the number of freshmen that are ag is the numerator, so 12. Next. Selecting a CVT student who has fewer than 2 cars. Okay, fewer than 2 is 280 plus 1939. That's the numerator. The denominator is all of the numbers added together. Whatever that number is will be the denominator. Next one. We have to figure out the cost or expected value of one ticket. Well, there were 299 tickets that were sold. Everybody that bought one of those tickets lost $2.50. So whatever that is, it's going to be a negative number when you multiply those two together. Oh, not 2.99, 299 times 2.5 people. Then there's going to be one person that won $323. So if you add those two together, this negative and this positive, you're going to get a certain amount. And I'll give you a hint. Every raffle has a negative expected value because if you're running the raffle, you want to take money from people. Next one. A coin is tossed 10 times. what is the probability that exactly 2 of the tosses would be successful? Remember that if you're dealing with success and failure, you're dealing with a binomial, because there are 2 ways that you can do the problem. Binomial distribution. So on your calculator, you're going to go to mode, arrow down, because you want a distribution, and the distribution we want is binomial, but not point. No, it does say point because it says exactly. Since it says exactly, we're going to want the point distribution, which is number 4, and we're going to use the variable. Our value of x, we want 2 choices. How many different tosses are there? There are 10. And what's the probability on any one time? Well, since there's a choice of a head or a tail, the probability of any one of them is 0.5. And so when you press it, you will get a certain value for that choice. So when you press equals, you will see what your answer is. Fair dice is rolled. What are the odds? So now we want the odds. Odds, it's for and against are the 2 choices. In this case, the odds against. So how many ways can you lose if you are rolling an even number? Well, the even numbers are 2, 4, 6. There are 3 ways to lose. How many ways are there to win? 2, 4, 6. How many ways to lose? 1, 3, 5. So you would rate that as your probability. You could simplify it to 1 to 1. And then converting from odds to probability and from probability to odds. In this case, they give you the probability, and so since you know the probability, the odds for would be the 50 goes first. And remember, if there's 97 total, 4 plus against will be the total, 97. Since we know the 4 is 50, we have to do the against with that, which should be 47. So that is the test. If you have any questions, give me a ring-a-ding-a-ding. Talk to you later. Bye.